All right, everybody. I am doing my presentation on the Hells Angels, the outlaw motorcycle gang. So bear with me. I will try my best to make this quick. Who are the Hells Angels? The Hells Angels are America's oldest and most famous outlaw motorcycle gang, also known as an OMG. They are considered the biggest and most dangerous in the United States and worldwide. The history, they began after World War II, after veterans returned home and felt displaced by society. Formerly known as the Pissed Off Bastards, soldiers began looking for camaraderie and excitement that they had lost after the war. Motorcycles were military surplus and cheap, and purchasing American made products was seen as patriotic, and the lifestyle as free and rebellious. After disgruntled members and endless infighting, members of the Pissed Off Bastards split off and created the first Hells Angels Club in Fontana, California. Named after the famous American pilots, the Flying Tigers, whose squadron that was sent to aid China as mercenaries against the Japanese were named the Hells Angels. One of the main members of the Hells Angels, Frank Sedelic, the president of the San Francisco chapter, was famous for creating the famous Deathwing logo as seen on the back of their vests. Frank Sedelic was good friends with leader Sonny Barger and died in 1970 from drowning. Ralph Sonny Barger. Sonny Barger became the president of the Oakland chapter and the most famous president and unofficial leader of all of the Hells Angels, despite him saying otherwise. What Frank Sedelic did for image, Barger did for power and notoriety. Barger was extremely charismatic and had a natural talent for leadership, diplomacy, and vision. Barger turned the Hells Angels from a loose confederation of OMGs to a unified brotherhood. Popularity and recruitment. The Hells Angels have been portrayed in numerous Hollywood films over the decades. They portrayed the fantasy of a rebel and free lifestyle. They never had to actively recruit as members came to them. Members and command style. Hells Angels members are all adults, often no younger than mid to late 20s and as old as their leader, Sonny Barger, who is now 80 years old. Many members are veterans of the U.S. military, but that is not a requirement. Often very patriotic, but very anti law enforcement. Female members are allowed to hang around with members known as old ladies and ride on the back of bikes, but are not allowed voting rights in clubs or allowed to ride themselves side by side with members. Members and command style continued. Since members of Hells Angels are all adults and often veterans of the military and other hardworking middle lower class backgrounds, their organization is solely structured on the concept of brotherhood and highly democratic principles. Members vote and have direct control over club dealings. The charisma of Sonny Barger is the reason for the unity of the club. Group members of free and rebel adults would not respond well to a rigid command structure like street gangs whose members are majority juveniles. The motto of the Hells Angels is freedom, and they'll live the way you want, which is not conducive with a military style leader dictating when and how members can live. Crime and violence. The Hells Angels are well known for how deadly they are, whether it is a civilian who crossed a member while drunk at a bar, a rival gang member, or a police officer stopping them on the side of the road. Hells Angels are clashing with Vagos OMG members all over California as Vagos clubs attempt to obtain a foothold in Northern California. Drug trafficking and gun running are main moneymakers for the Hells Angels. Expansion. The Hells Angels have gone from being a Southern California outlaw motorcycle gang to an international crime syndicate. Hells Angels now have chapters in 5 continents, 58 countries, and 466 plus charters and growing. The future of the Hells Angels indicates that they will only continue to grow so long as they have leadership that is able to keep them unified. With their international foothold, their power and influence is far beyond what it once was. Although there are still public clashes with rival gang members, the majority of their workings are done in secret. Criminality is welcomed, but sloppiness is not. The Hells Angels prefer to keep their criminal activity off the news. Bad press is bad for business. Law enforcement is well aware of the Hells Angels but is overwhelmed with the growing street gang problems. So long as the Hells Angels stay out of the headlines, they are pretty much left alone.